welcome. This video is to look at question 45 and 46 on page MC24. Now you're waiting to find out, did you get these right? Well, both answers were A. A is in apple. So if you got them wrong, let's dig a little deeper here. Question 45 talks about a virus. So when a virus is placed on a tobacco leaf, lesions appear on the leaf. To compare the mean number of lesions, so this is definitely a mean question, by two different strains of the virus, one is applied to half of each of these 8 tobacco leaves. The other strain is applied to the other half. The strain that goes on the right half or the left is decided by the flip of a coin. The lesion appears on each half and then counted. So this is an example of a matched pair where I only really have 8 patients or subjects, and that's my leaves. And so ultimately, I'm going to be calculating mu of the first strain, and my H sub O would be that they would be the same thing. The first strain is the same thing as the second. Another way to do this is H sub O mu1 minus mu2 is 0. So there is no difference both ways mathematically. And then I have my H sub A. That would be mu1 and mu2 do not produce the same mean. So that would mean I'm collecting some amount of information that there is a difference between these two strains. Another way this would show up in an H sub A is mu1 minus mu2 is something that is not 0. Okay, so that's why we studied the difference between two means, to decide if there is a difference or if there is not a difference. Now in this question, they're really just asking the degree of freedom. So the degree of freedom is n minus 1. So the degree of freedom is the number of samples. And so ultimately I only have 8 samples, 8 subjects, and 8 minus 1 is 7. There you go. Next question. This one's right out of your notes. We said, which of the following is the criterion in choosing the difference between a T and a Z? So I said today in class, and we've shown in our notes, the only difference between a T and a Z is that a Z is the data of a whole population. And T is when we estimate what that population might be. So a Z is when we use proportion tests. Or when we have the standard deviation of the population of a means question. So a categorical question, we use a Z-test. And on a means question, we use it if we are given or somehow we already know the standard deviation of the population. So right away I see, yep, my answer is going to have to be A, the standard deviation of the population. When that is not known, I'm forced to use a t-test, and that's what they've asked me in the question. When would someone use a t-test? They would use it when they're making an inference about a mean. And they would do that because they do not know the standard deviation of the population. Thanks for joining.